Only that's allowed.
Yes, it is.
Alright.
Okay, all right, we will go ahead and call to order the Los Olivos Community Services District Finance Subcommittee meeting for April 3rd, 2026 at 8:48 a.m. Call to order.
Chair Kennedy, Vice President Nelson.
Here.
No.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have anybody online? Possibly nobody here in the room.
No.
Okay, no public comment. Moving on to consent agenda. Do we have any public comment? None. The motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
In this case, just that it's only minutes. We separate the two.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Except for the minutes.
I'll approve, second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved. The next item, let's see. So that was just it on consent. We just have the minutes. Okay, so the next item is the invoice review and recommendation.
Yeah, if I may, Madam Chair, two things. Certainly you have the invoices in front of you. Since this agenda was published, we received the Wallace Group's most recent bill, and I've had to pay some significant expenses. So, well, my bill will include another $1,300 for our website and streaming and everything, and some postage, and then the full Wallace Group most recent bill, which is significant. I think it'll be helpful as we talk about the general budget, which is why I like to get it on the agenda. As far as Wallace is concerned, I have that little project table at the bottom there. In total, their phase one was to be about $403,000. I think so. They're going to be probably $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
even better than I
amazing.
thought. I was assuming
Awesome.
it would be some, but not nearly that much. So yeah, it is.
That's incredible. Wow. You almost never hear that.
All right.
Okay.
So those two invoices will be updated for the full agenda. I'd ask the two of you to review them prior to the meeting so that while they won't come, I'll make it clear in that agenda, while they won't come with your recommendation, we can then say, yeah, we review them.
All right. Any comment, questions?
No, that's impressive. I read the whole thing over. Happy news.
Oh, yeah, that on that side, yeah.
Yeah. I did have a quick question on the RGS. Was this for this was the phone call? Was your phone call? Okay, super. All right. All right. Well, we can get a motion to recommend.
Let's do public comment even though.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Public comment. Sorry. Really public comment? None, nobody online? Okay, then we'll have to put a motion.
And just a reminder, this is a motion to recommend,
Yes.
not to approve.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, is that second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Committee is recommending the invoices for approval to the board.
Correct.
All right. Next item on the agenda is consideration of accounts payable bookkeeping contract with Fiscal.
No, please skip one.
Oh, sorry, I'm on the minutes. Wait. Sorry.
We're at budget report.
Budget reports.
Well, I missed him. Well, it's on your mother, right? All right, so I'm sharing my screen here. If I can. Real quick. So budget reports, of course, this is the group that I actually showed them to everybody. As you can see, we're at 346, just a little over that. That number's going to drop significantly because of this most recent Wall Street bill that we'll presumably approve next week. But still have, $250,000 left in the bank, so to speak. And as I mentioned a minute ago, the Wall Street's going to come in under contract, which is also helpful. As far as reports are concerned, we'll get to this item, or we won't get to the item, I guess more technically, the audit item in just a few minutes. I'm still sorting out which reports I think are best to include with the agenda. I kind of like this one just because it shows what's going on, year date variances, that sort of stuff when compared to the sources and such. For those who are more used to typical sort of, modified accrual accounting, this shows, well, where are we from a balance perspective, and then your more historic budget to actual sort of. The problem is with this new system the county implemented as of the first of this fiscal year, there are probably 900 so I could be putting in there. So it just makes it really tough to decide, okay, which one do you really want to use and which one don't you want to use, and that sort of thing. So that's sort of the reports. If there's something that the finance committee, when we meet, like to see, I'm happy to bring it. Just let me know what it is you'd like to see. I'm sure we're getting audio on there.
I would make a suggestion. I think, since most people are unfamiliar with government accounting, if having the reports in a format that is something that most people are used to, at least for the public, would be helpful. I'm fine with the government accounting version, using their terminology, et cetera. But I said, I think most people are familiar with more traditional. So anytime, especially anything that we're presenting to the public, I think it's really helpful in showing them that. So for example, the balance sheet that you have, the page is at 29.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Like I said, I think most people would be able to look at that and understand and know what's going on. So it's just where we want to make sure people really are tied into what's happening. That's super helpful.
Yeah, I create the chart, which I think most people just, how much money do we have, and how we've been trending.
Well, that's true, and that's the thing about the balance sheet. People are going to just look at the bottom line, go, okay, we have 46 in cash per assets. Great.
Then perhaps the answer is I cut it down to just the balance sheet and that chart. Stop trying to provide others because of those.
Well, if you have which it looks like no, you don't have one of those. That's right.
There's so many I've been kind of.
So the ideal world would be for, at least for the public, this is just my opinion.
Okay.
So please chime in if you agree, disagree, or have another thought. I think at least for the public, having something that looks more like this traditional balance sheet, and then something that looks more like a traditional P&L or income statement. That I think would be super helpful. So the income statement is going to show, cash on hand, what are our expenses, that sort of thing. Which kind of your budget versus actual sort of in a way shows that. Because you show revenues and expenditures and changes to fund balance. I mean, again, this is definitely more government accounting. Most people are unfamiliar with this.
Yeah. Good having the title, this is the new county. Yeah.
Which I actually like. I have to say, I like this
I
a
haven't
lot.
even looked at it.
I mean, I think it's great that you but yeah.
So perhaps at some point, you and I can sit down for just 5 minutes and I'll show you the report and say, oh, I want that.
That sounds great. I want to help you with that.
All right, great.
Especially as we're moving into, potentially where we're going to be getting some money and we actually could, move this project along, having good, clean financials so that people can understand is going to be really super helpful. Okay. All right. Anyway, my 2 cents worth. I'm done.
No, that's what I was looking for.
Okay. Okay. Then let's see.
Public comment.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Nobody still. I think we're on to the budget. Okay, we now are on to item 7, consideration of the draft proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27.
Okay, so as always, reminder, our budget runs July 1 to June 30. I've got that one up now. Yeah, so I put together what I consider a fairly simple budget, meaning how it's displayed, that sort of thing. But hopefully it's useful, right? In the end, it's useful. Look real quick. Here we go. So same format I've used in past years is typical. I include kind of a written overview. So if somebody just wants to read the words, they can. I try to keep it as short as I can. Much of what's written in this page here just says, hey, here's what the following pages said, in words versus just the numbers. And beginning on page 2, just to provide a little comparison between years. And much like I've done in past years, I use kind of my best estimate as far as what approach should I take. Should I use, you see SALY, same as last year? Okay. You see, Sally plus, that's 2.5% the assumed CPI that I've used in this. I did make some assumptions, as noted, about amounts that we would charge from GM and staff. Kind of went back a couple years because this year was kind of weirdly busy with all the side work. And the assumption kind of overriding is that we're not going to get, as I've said in the past, until we see money, I don't include it in the budget. So I kind of made the assumption, okay, if you go down the no money path, where do you go? So this budget fundamentally is based on hey, for no money, we're going to be headed toward not fun stuff, nothing that anybody wants to do. So I adjusted legal contract, like me and district engineer costs accordingly. And to do that, I went back a couple years saying, I'm trying to get back to that because it won't be all this other work. I assumed in here that groundwater monitoring is nothing, that if we don't get money from EHS, we're not going to do it. Particularly if we're headed down a dissolution path. Why would we pay them to use it down 12, right?
They're still there if we decided, or somebody decides at a later time we want to test them.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. Correct. On the revenue side, it just shows the special tax. And what I did for that one is I took the amount we've received thus far this year, doubled it because we've only received half as of this year, and then added 2.5%, which tends to be pretty close. Interest, I just said, what have we gotten year to date? There's that Sally on use of money, and we adjusted some things down a little bit. Good deal. Year to date for insurance, MLH is mostly a hard time, as we'll talk about in a couple of minutes with the audit. I think we'll have a good discussion about do we continue with them or do we shift to someone new. But that's what they're basically saying, $5,900 a year. So it's all pretty straightforward, assuming that we don't go down any other path. This proposed budget shows we'd end the year with about $156,000. If we do decide to kind of take some more baby steps, particularly knowing now that Wall Street's going to be under budget significantly, maybe we could do this after engineering for sure. If you wanted to see what that would look like, we could certainly get partway through the 60%, but not all the way through. So kind of a weird situation, trying to do a budget and short of doing 2 separate budgets. I just thought, let's see if we get the money. I can redo the whole budget. Let me see what else is in here. I provide year-over-year comparisons. This chart's getting smaller and smaller because there's more and more data on it. I may just stop at 5 years, still around next year. This actually gives us like 6 historical and the current year. So by letting some of them drop off, a little better. And then close with what the timeline is, and perhaps for this group, this is one of the best things. I got it published last week. We're going to review it. The board will go through a process of reviewing it and setting a hearing date. So what happens next week is not the adoption of the budget. Right. Just review, give me additional input, and then I have to get publications done, all that sort of stuff, to make sure that meeting the law. And then I'm proposing, at least in this schedule, subject to the board actually setting the 10th as the hearing date, that we would do that as part of the regular meeting time. It does have to be a separate on the agenda. We go into a hearing, we adjourn the hearing, we go,
Right.
and then I get it published, all in time to meet all state legal mandates. And I close, as I have done, as the general manager, I kind of have this back and forth. I live in the district and the general manager, and I can't say enough to the board and everybody that is involved within the district. How important it is to me as a citizen. I know you guys are often thinking me as your general manager, but I want to make it really clear that you guys stay deep all the time and you're making some tough decisions, and what I think the 26-27 budget could be really an interesting time for the board. And, I get to report to you and I get to tell you what's in the budget and I get to make recommendations, but I don't have to make the decision. And sometimes that's the hardest place to be. So just a great big thank you at the end of this.
Well, thank you for all the hard work keeping us
Well, yeah.
on track. I did have a
Sure.
comment. Well, actually, let's see if we did, let's have the public comment first.
No.
Okay, none, all right. So, I mean, first of all, great news that Walsh Group's coming in so incredibly under budget. They're utilizing AI a lot in their work, which is saving us some money. Regardless, that's a huge help.
Yeah.
I think though, at least for me personally, any further spending, even on the assessment engineering, while I know that's really critical for the Prop 218, kind of like to just understand the timeline a little bit more. Maybe that's better discussed with the Prop 218 committee and in the board. But before we spend or approve to spend on any assessment engineering, I think it's more critical that we have some funding lined up from the county first. I mean, we can't get to the 90% design without help, and we definitely know we are not going to get a 218 vote passed without some significant commitment of funding. There's just no way. So spending on the assessment engineering without it having that commitment of funding for construction, I don't know, I'm not in favor. I'm not terribly excited about having the district put that money out until we know we have a shot at getting 218 passed. Yeah, that's just my.
Yeah. The only thing about that that I'm feeling or hearing is I don't know how much of a role that's going to play, the assessment engineer stuff, in people's continued support and ideas for it. I'm thinking they'll want to know what it's going to cost. And I think that's kind of the measure to a point that they're going to be able to see. So I don't disagree with you. I'm just thinking we need to keep it as a top.
Oh, no doubt.
The top
Oh, no
priority.
doubt.
And, I don't, and what was the cost on doing this? Or,
Somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000, depending upon various vendors.
okay. We might hear more at the workshop about that too, as whether people want to know that information yet or not. I mean, I think your report, your quarterly report, I've read the narrative part because I'm better with the narrative and looking at a bunch of numbers. They don't always fit for me. So, and I thought that was very succinct, and it was reality.
Right.
And following up that, we're reading over the LAFCO report. Same thing, they don't want to lose it. They don't want us to fail. They don't want to take it over. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's,
And we've done, we'll get a lot of work put into this so far, and hate to see it go, no pun intended, down the drain.
well, that was the message at LAFCO yesterday.
Yeah.
We're really, really close right now, but we are also at critical junction.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it's probably now where our funding sources are especially in governmental side, they're kind of fish are cut bait. You know, that they've got to step up and you can't do this alone. We don't have people with deep pockets that are underwrite this. So they want it done. Time to step up. So that's my thought too.
So I mean, I think overall this looks great. I thank you very much though for doing this. It's the review of this is all money that we have. We're not sugarcoating anything here. We're not adding hope without commitment here. So I think this is perfectly fine and for the board to review. Don't think you need a motion on this.
Yeah, just a question if you want to recommend
Okay.
the thing to the full board or not. It's up to you, the two of you.
Yeah, okay, well,
I think I moved to the
Yeah,
board.
absolutely, I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are so moved recommending this draft proposed budget to the full board for review.
I may?
Yes, I'm just sorry, I was waiting for you to finish typing.
No, no.
Okay, the next item is the consideration of the fiscal year 24-25 annual audit.
You don't like watching me walk car. Chew bubble gum all at once.
I'm sensitive to sometimes you would
Yeah.
get it out of your head and on the keyboard.
So I've been toying with trying to use, Zoom Notes actually as a new function that Zoom provides. Unfortunately, it doesn't fold it into my notes document. If it gets to there, I'll be really happy. So there is no audit to review at this point. The auditor, just for mostly for your benefit, because Julie's had to suffer through all my emails. I got extremely stern, I would say, by reaching out to the managing partner last week to basically kind of give them the threat about action. Because we are facing at the end of the month a deadline from the state controller's office that if we don't turn things in, the claim they'll start finding us.
Definitely don't.
Yeah. And so reached out to the managing partner. He pretty clearly reached out to the partner we're dealing with because I reached out to him at 6 p.m. He responded within 10 minutes. And the next morning at, 7 a.m. I had an email from the partner saying, oh yeah, I've been really busy. And I basically said, I don't care, I need it by today. And as late as 10:59 p.m., he was still working on it last night. We've been sending emails fast and furious this week. So I fully expect an audit for the full board to review. So it'll be agendized. I'll make a note that this group didn't get a chance to review it. Now, I mentioned this to Chair Kennedy a few minutes ago. This group kind of has two options. My recommendation would just be wait for the full board. But if you want, you could continue this item and come back before Wednesday. My recommendation is take it to the full board, but it's up to you.
I'm okay either way.
I was saying, I think, let it go to the full board. And again, our situation is super simplistic. Be hard to imagine there's any finding. And if there was, it's probably going to be something around the changeover from the old fin system to Workday. There might be something in there, but again, that's kind of really out of our hands in terms of if we rely on the county anyway to make that conversion. But other than that, we don't have assets. We don't have any work in progress other than some of the Wallace group piece. So I don't expect that we should see any findings. We've been pretty clean on all of our accounting all along.
I think so too.
So I'm fine if we just let it go to the full board. That we didn't receive any time to review.
Never anticipate any surprises.
Okay. Okay, do we have any public comment on this item? Nothing. All right, the next item on the agenda is subcommittee member reports. The thing I'll just report out that we had the last meeting yesterday. The presentation gave them an update of where we were. A lot of discussion, of course, funding, and there was one commissioner had suggestion that we go out to the voters and ask them to approve a special assessment increase personally, I'm not in favor of that. I don't think anybody has the appetite for stepping up for more without other commitment funding. But I think on the whole, it went well. I think we have, there definitely was some, piqued interest in the TOT tax as an option for helping us, and we'll definitely be pursuing that.
May I respond to that briefly?
Yes.
Just my experience, and confirmed yesterday with, Mike Prater, who's the CEO of LabCo. Sometimes, in order, we do head down a dissolution process. Sometimes, and I don't think they do it in our case, but sometimes LabCo will say, no, we won't allow you to just dissolve unless you try to get more money from your local folks. I think we would have solid grounds to push back on that, but just know, I'm just saying it for data point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with both. I think that would be our ultimate last resort in my mind, because I think people are about tapped out.
Oh, yeah.
They're afraid of what they're going to get in the future. I don't know.
All right, anything, Tom, on subcommittee member comments?
Not on anything related, well, I guess it is related to subcommittee. The April 9th, the day after our meeting, I'm heading back to Oklahoma.
Okay.
My brother and his wife, I don't know if I told you, were in a serious accident. Yeah. They're both messed up. They've been supported by all their church family and neighbors and everybody. It's been over a month, and I feel like they're intruding on everybody now. And I'm hooking up my little travel trailer to my truck and going back there for I don't know how long. I don't think it'll be as long as the last time. I'm hopeful not. I'm hopeful that I'll be back by June, but I don't know. She has a common fracture of C2, a common fractures of her pelvis, and it's going to be multiple surgeries. And he's a basket case. He's with his broken ribs, he's still healing with his previous surgery on his neck and his back and his legs, and it's just, So I'm the guy. It is what it is, and I don't think they've done anything aside filing claims or anything other than with their insurance company, which I thought was rather humorous, painfully humorous. When they filed for a claim, and they said, well, you need to get a lawyer and sue that person. And my brother told me, well, I pay for uninsured motorists for coverage. Where does that go? Why isn't that what you're doing? Because what happened, the inmate escaped from the jail, so there's county responsibility. Stole a vehicle that was parked in front of a nearby bank that was left running while the person went into the bank. So we have different people who have a level of liability.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that they have had the frame of mind to even deal with that. So that's that.
So my only request is kind of twofold. So I will not be at the May 20th meeting either in person. I'll be remote.
Okay.
District Engineer Pike has agreed to do everything.
Okay.
But please keep both of us apprised of if you're going to try to attend remotely or if you just.
I try to, and with my trailer, I've set it up like a mobile office, so I'll be able to hook up and attend remotely from there. So I can post the sign and everything that needs to be done.
As long as it's publicly accessible.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay. I mean, we're nearest neighbors, it'll be half to 3/4 of a mile away, but if they want to show up, they can come.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't think they're going to care, but
fair enough. I just, if you're going to try to do that, I'll Matt, do 20.
Yeah.
Provide you with the address.
And that's why I wanted to stay and do this meeting, and not have one more, because I'd be on the road otherwise, and that's really. Anyway,
Okay. All right, with that, we'll go ahead, to the motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second, so motion to
9:18.
adjourn at, 3:19, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
All righty.
Okay.
Get better, Tom.
I stayed in bed all day